Well, good morning. Day 31 on the Palmetto, and I am doing the Awendaw passage, which is 7 miles long. And this is the final passage of the Palmetto Trail, my final day. I am so excited. I will miss this hiking day after day. I really enjoy doing this kind of thing. But my poor mother is so ready to be done and get home. I guess that's asking quite a bit out of a mother, a loved one who has their own life. And she dedicated her life to me for 2 months. Aw, I couldn't have done it without her. As she was delivering me to the trailhead just now, there was a wild hog on the side of the road. Big black guy. So yeah, there's lots of pigs in South Carolina. I had to hang my pants outside the window while we were driving to help dry them out. They did not dry at all last night. I tell you, this humidity is just a killer. I walked yesterday just soaking wet the whole day, and it didn't rain at all. My clothes are so wet still. I will be looking forward to leaving this humidity. Even though this looks bikeable, I decided I wanted to walk the whole passage this time. In our last hike, we learned how the Philistines in young Samuel's day fought the Israelites and won, and confiscated the Ark of the Covenant. But it only caused them death and plagues, and so they passed around the Ark from city to city for a total of 7 months. But each city got decimated. Now I gotta cross Highway 17, which is a 4-lane busy road. Well, that wasn't too bad, but happy to be back in the woods again. Noisy road. I'm sure I'll be battling ticks in here, but I came prepared. I sprayed my pants with off, and they have permethrin, so should do a pretty good job. Well, the Philistines called for the priests and diviners. These were the two classes of religious authority. They make decisions about spiritual matter and make predictions about the future. What should we do with the Ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it to its place. So they said, if you send away the Ark of the God of Israel, do not send it empty, but by all means return it to him with a trespass offering. Then you will be healed. Well, let's take a tiny detour down this boardwalk. See what all the specialness is. Oh, that's nice. Don't think I need to go out on that platform. For being heathen, these priests were pretty smart. A widespread custom in the ancient world was that one should never approach a person of high standing or a god without a gift. A guilt or trespass offering is presented to God in recognition of some type of wrong. Now this seems kind of gross, but the trespass offering that they recommended was 5 golden tumors and 5 golden rats, because there were 5 Philistine lords and 5 cities that were affected. So in addition to the plague of tumors, there is also a plague of rats, which carry the disease. This is what is called a salt marsh. So make these images and give glory to the God of Israel. Perhaps he will lighten his hand from you, from your gods, and from your land. To give God glory means to make a confession about a sin, and in Revelation relates to the act of giving God glory, a divine judgment. God's judgment is targeting the power of the Philistine gods. Then the priests and diviners call attention to the Pharaoh in the time of the Israelite exodus from Egypt. The signs and wonders God performed in Egypt pressed the Pharaoh to decide whether to obey or disobey God. So don't harden your hearts like they did. So make a new cart and take 2 cows which have never been yoked. In other words, they have never been trained to pull a cart, and hitch them to the cart. And not only that, take away their calves from them. Through the plagues, the Philistine priests and diviners have acquired a great respect for the God of Israel. Then take the ark of the Lord and set it on the cart, and put the images of gold in a chest beside it, and then send it away and let it go. In ancient times, people kept sacred objects in chests called arks in English. Then they were instructed to watch it. If it goes up the road to its own territory, to Beth Shemesh, then he has done us this great evil. But if not, then it was not his hand that struck us. It happened by chance. Beth Shemesh was an Israelite town located on the Philistine border. Its name means house of Shemesh, and Shemesh was the sun god. Well, here's a fine specimen of a palmetto on the Palmetto Trail. The men followed the instructions of the diviners and let the cows go, and they headed straight for the road to Beth Shemesh and went along the highway, lowing as they went, and they turned neither right nor left, and the Philistine lords followed behind them. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were reaping their wheat, so this would be in May or early June. And they lifted their eyes and saw the ark coming, so they rejoiced to see it. Then the cows stopped in a field with a large rock, and the people split the cart for wood for a fire. And then they offered the cows as a burnt offering to the Lord. This sacrifice was offered in gratitude of a mighty God. Look at this interesting tree. Quite jungle-like in here. I sure love big old oak trees. Wow, that is huge. Then, because some men were curious, they looked into the ark, a sinful curiosity. So God struck down the men of Beth Shemesh. The Bible scholars deduced that it was 70 men. Then the men of Beth Shemesh said, "Who is able to stand before this holy God? And to whom shall it go from us?" They wanted to get rid of it now, just like the Philistines had. So they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kirjath-jearim and said, "The Philistines have returned the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up with you." And that's where this chapter ends. Somewhere out there is an ocean. So I'm getting down to the end of this Awendaw passage. It was 7 miles. So let's reflect on this Palmetto Trail hike. I am so glad that I was able to come here and do it, experience a new state. If you didn't know, if I didn't tell you, I drew this state out of a hat. And when I saw that it had a long distance trail, I knew that I wanted it. And so I twisted my mother's arm and she eventually agreed to come with me. And I'm so grateful because I could not have done it without her, like I've said. That being said, I don't recommend it as a through hike. There's so much road walks and it's a lot of hiking through pine forests, which is not my favorite. But we've met such lovely people, and it's only been the last 4 or 5 days that I've had to deal with ticks, which I'm very surprised about and pleased about. And the snakes and stuff, I mean, you gotta be prepared for that pretty much anywhere you go. My favorite passages, I would say, is the Awendaw, the one that I'm doing now, and the middle Saluda passage was pretty special, especially in the direction that I went. I can recommend that one. Probably my least favorite passage was the Swamp Fox passage, to be honest. But yeah, as far as through hiking it, there's not a lot of camping options. When they do have campgrounds, they are gorgeous with picnic tables. Like, they really spoil you. but they're so few and far between that I feel like it would be a really stressful walk to do as a through hike. And you cannot do this trail without some apps like the Awendaw app. I also used All Trails to navigate because the signage is not that great and it's not consistent either. I've seen white blazes and yellow blazes and white triangles, and then of course there are little palmetto signs and even some pink and blue. So that is not a consistent marking system. The humidity too. The humidity is something that will absolutely drain you. As someone coming from the west, the dry west, whew, it was hard to get used to. And on the whole trail, I would be surprised if I saw a dozen people. I'm very shocked that it was not more populated. Very pleased. I had it all to myself most of the time. I left home April 1st and I'm finishing this trail on May 20th. And I'm so grateful that I was able to bike some of it too. Otherwise I'd still be going and I need to get home. You know, the Philistines witnessed the supernatural guidance of the cows as they sent the ark back to Judah. They witnessed the restraining power of God in halting the epidemic and giving them healing. Though satisfied they had seen strange things that day, they turned and went back to their gods and to their people. Oops, somebody forgot some boards. What miracles of God are you seeing in your life and yet you still deny Him? What is preventing you from giving your life to God? Now, just because I'm done the Palmetto Trail does not mean I'm done hiking. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.